Let's dive in here. Your body is always talking. Are you listening? This is what we're calling check engine lights. Our body's flashing a signal at us, and are we paying attention to it? Is there something a symptom that's going on, whether it be fatigue or insomnia or pain or whatever that symptom might be? That's like our check engine light, right? Something's flashing at us and it's telling us, hey, there's something going on. We need to run some diagnostics. We need to figure out what's going on. Our bodies are very intelligent. And so sometimes they give us some signals that we need to pay attention to. That's a part of a deeper system or a deeper problem that we need to take care of. Symptoms, they're not the problem, they're just the warning sign. They're often the messages pointing us toward what the problem really is. So we don't want to take that check engine light and just cover it with tape, right? That's just covering the problem up. Sometimes we do that with medications or supplements. We'll take something that's suppressing a symptom, but that's not really telling us what the check engine light is. We don't want to cover it with tape and just keep driving. That's going to wear on our engine or whatever that problem might be. And our bodies are working in that same way. Our signals are coming in. We're not the enemies. We want to learn to listen to them and take a step towards figuring out what they are and reframing that to a better question here. Let's dive in here. Our body's communicating. So every second, your body's working to maintain balance, that homeostasis. We want to produce energy. We might be fighting an infection. We might be repairing damage at the cellular level. There's things happening that we're adapting to. It might be stress, it might be lack of sleep, whatever that is. Our bodies are continuously working. Sometimes we drift out of that homeostasis, and that's okay, and we can get back in. Sometimes when we are out of that balance for a while, we start having a symptom. So instead of asking, how do I make this symptom go away? Maybe it's fatigue. I'll drink coffee, right? Or maybe it's a lack of sleep. Maybe we try to take something to affect that sleep. Let's try to reframe that and ask, well, why is my body producing this symptom? What's going on in the background that could be? And maybe it is stress. Maybe it's something big that's happening at work that's making the body dysregulate. Maybe it's the food we're eating that's making us dysregulate. Maybe it's an infection that's making us, or a toxin. So let's try to figure out, hey, why is my body producing this symptom? Sometimes it's a skin rash. Well, why is my body producing a skin rash? Well, let's try to reframe that into the why instead of how do I make this kind of go away. Let's talk about some different check engine lights. Low energy and fatigue. Symptoms maybe afternoon energy crashes, waking up still tired, constant need for caffeine or exhaustion despite you're getting enough sleep. Let's talk about what these things can potentially mean to us. So if you're having afternoon crashes, that could potentially be a blood sugar issue, maybe too high or too low. It could be something that we're eating potentially, or we can do some investigation in our blood labs and see if our insulin or our blood sugar is off. That afternoon crash could be that. It could be cortisol, your cortisol regulation. So your stress hormone could be off, and that could be causing that afternoon crash. So a little bit of information to tack onto those things. If you're waking up tired, even though you're getting enough sleep, that's a common thyroid symptom. Or it's a cortisol. It could be a cortisol symptom. That HPA axis, your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, could be disrupted. And so let's look into the why. Why is that system being disrupted? If you're constantly needing for caffeine, maybe that's mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria is our body's ability to produce energy at the cell level. Maybe let's investigate that a little bit more. Sometimes we'll do what's called an organic acids test, or sometimes we'll do some lab work or an HTMA to look for some whys behind, well, are we just nutrient deficient? Is there a toxin driving the inability for our bodies to produce energy? Is it something in like an infection that's suppressing our body's ability to produce energy? Why do we constantly need that caffeine, right? And then exhaustion despite adequate sleep, that's another one that could be thyroid related. That could be some blood sugar regulation. The deeper question becomes, well, what's dysregulating those? It's inflammation of some kind. Are we drinking enough water? Are we having bowel movements? That's the kind of questions we start to ask. But these are some possibilities of low energy and fatigue. That's a common thing we see in our office. Let's go on to the next. Digestive complaints. Bloating, that's a common one that comes into the office, right? Bloating, gassy, retention, or loose stools. What is our body trying to tell us with these check engine lights? Our body's giving us a signal. What's it telling us? So sometimes with bloating, that could be a yeast infection or a parasitic infection. So we can dive a little bit deeper into that. Sometimes we just are not chewing our food enough. That's a very, very common complaint with bloating. We shovel in food too fast, and then we don't have the proper digestion, hydrochloric acid and digestive juices there to digest that food. So the symptom would be bloat. So sometimes slowing down and chewing your food can be super beneficial for most people, if not all people, when it comes to that one. Constipation and diarrhea. Why are we having slow motility or fast motility? Are we hydrated enough? That's a common constipation one. Or is there an infection there or a toxin that's causing paralysis? Is there neurological issues? Are we stuck in fight or flight? So our body's sympathetic nervous system is that fight or flight system, and that takes things away from our gut motility. So rest, digest, and heal is parasympathetic. If we're stuck in this constant sympathetic dominant pattern, then we don't rest, digest, and heal very well. Is it a nervous system issue? Then acid reflux. Acid reflux, common things that we see for that is food sensitivities. Are we eating something that's irritable? And every time we eat something, our body's trying to tell us, hey, we don't like this something. Try to figure that out with acid reflux. It's usually a food sensitivity issue. So try to take some journals, see if you can pin down what foods are causing some acid reflux. Or is it just an infection and or digestive enzymes or fluids that we need to replenish in that gut? Support your digestive system, improve your gut through microbiome balance. Sometimes we'll run a stool test here to see, like, is there an imbalance in your microbiome? What can we do to help flourish your ecosystem in that gut? Is my digestive system functioning the way it was designed? If I'm getting bloating after eating, if we're getting constipation, diarrhea, having acid reflux, those are warning signs that are telling us, hey, something's going on. Let's pay attention to that. Check engine light 3, blood sugar. This is a big one in our office too. Prediabetes, diabetes. Symptoms, sugar cravings. That's a blood sugar regulation. If you don't eat for a while, you get shaky, jittery, irritable. That's low blood sugar symptoms. Fog before meals or after meals. Hunger shortly after eating. If you feel like you need a nap right after you eat, that's insulin resistance. These are warning signs. The check engine light. So your blood sugar, these ripples, the ripple effect from that is to our energy, our mood, sometimes our hunger hormone, or just a feeling of hunger. Other hormones, your sex hormones, can be affected by blood sugar regulation. And then it's very inflammatory. Inflammation can cause a myriad of different symptoms. Sometimes stiffness, achiness, pain can come from blood sugar instability. So starting to pay attention to that. Am I giving my body steady fuel throughout the day? Or am I getting enough protein to support that blood sugar regulation? Am I eating enough throughout the day if you have low blood sugar? Finding those patterns that are really good for those blood sugar warning signs. Start asking those questions, or figuring out, hey, like, I have a bunch of sugar cravings, or I always have to have a dessert after a meal. That's usually an insulin issue. So are we feeding the good gut bugs to where we don't need some of these warning signs, so we don't have some of these warning signs that are coming out? Brain and nervous system here. Common signals that we would see for this: brain fog, trouble concentrating, focus, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, frequent headaches. We see those in the office a lot. That's our nervous system being inflamed. So insomnia is another one. And depression can be another brain inflammation symptom that you're seeing. Your brain may be responding to a sleep deprivation, chronic stress, blood sugar issues. It's inflammation. We just got to figure out the why behind it. Dehydration is a big one with some of these too. Or the nervous system's constantly stuck in fight or flight. We got to figure out why it is. Sometimes I'll find an infection and or a toxin that is driving that cortisol up. So you're like, man, I feel more stressed out. Nothing's changed though. Like my work stress is about the same. My home stress is about the same, but it feels like I'm just overwhelmed and stressed more. Sometimes you're just fighting underlying inflammation. That's why that's increased. So if you're constantly fighting mold or parasites or bacteria or whatever the toxin or infection might be, that's stressful to the nervous system. What load has my nervous system been carrying lately? It's a good question to ask. Sometimes it is stress at home or stress at work that has been heightened, and that can cause some symptoms. and there's definitely things you can do about it. Skin changes and hormonal signals. Skin changes, acne. Are we having acne? Are we having dry skin? Eczema, rashes. That can reflect some internal things going on, inflammation and gut health. Are we having a nutrient deficiency? Sometimes hormonal shifts can cause acne as well. Ask yourself, could my skin be revealing something happening internally? What am I doing? What's my diet doing? That's a big one with skin stuff. And am I detoxing well? And then hormonal signals like, am I having big mood swings? Am I super irregular cycles? Am I super irritable around my cycles? Do I have low libido, hot flashes? These are signals that are telling us, hey, something is a little bit off here. Hormones are shaped by stress, sleep, nutrition, and blood sugar. Those things need to be balanced to have healthy sex hormones. So what environment am I creating for healthy hormonal function? That's something that we should probably be asking ourselves. And am I eating to support my body function? Or is what I'm eating, is this going to cause inflammation? Or is it going to give nutrients to my body? Are we asking ourselves that? So are we eating some highly processed junk food? Probably going to be inflammatory to our system. And downstream is going to affect our hormones. So these are questions we start asking ourselves. Same thing with skin. Like, what am I eating that's contributing to this? So immune and inflammatory signals. Immune system, if we're frequently getting sick or colds or just slow recovery, that could be immune suppression. Constant allergies, recurrent infections, that's our immune system talking to us. So your immune system thrives on better sleep. And some of these people are like, well, I sleep all the time. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure out what's suppressing that immune system. Improve nutrition, stress reduction, gut health, real recovery time. For me, this is a big one for me when my immune system was suppressed because of mold, but I was still doing some pretty intense exercising, which was further depleting me. I wasn't giving my body real time to recover, and that's what it needed. And so once I did that and I could replete, I was able to do those harder workouts again, but you have to give your body time to heal. So is my body getting enough opportunity to recover? And then pain and inflammation, joint pain, muscle aches, chronic stiffness, that could be some lymphatic stuff, but it's saying, hey, we got some inflammation in the background. Pain isn't always something to eliminate immediately. Sometimes our body's telling us something. Hey, let's take a rest day. It's asking for recovery, maybe some gentle movement instead of an intense exercise. Maybe it's just a light walk to recover. Nutrition, reduced inflammatory load. What might my body be trying to protect me from? That's a good question. So start reframing some of these things. So we're often missing these messages. We're often covering these messages up. We're kind of putting tape over them, right? We're like, oh, we see them, but that's not a big deal. But these things can add up over time. The modern lifestyle trains us to push through some of these things and just bury them and just ignore them. So we normalized exhaustion or high caffeine dependency, chronic stress, poor sleep, daily digestive issues. They're like, a lot of my patients, they're like, yeah, I have a bowel movement every other day, and that's just my normal. I'm like, well, that's not normal. It might be your normal, but that's not normal. Or I get 4 hours of sleep and that's my normal. I'm like, well, that's not really recovery normal. The research says we need around 7 hours of sleep for our brain to correctly drain and recycle some fluids. Maybe you're getting 4 hours, but is that the best for you? Probably not. Daily digestive issues. Oh, I get bloated after I eat, but that's always been happening. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean it's normal. That's just something that your body's telling you. So we silence the signal a lot of times. We just normalize it. We try to normalize dysfunction. Treating fatigue, headache, stress is simply just, oh, I'm getting older, it's part of life. We need to reframe that as, hey, my body's telling me something. Lasting health always begins with curiosity about what the body is trying to communicate. So we're going to just be curious about it. Here's some better questions to ask. Next time symptoms appear, pause and acknowledge those before reaching for a quick fix. Run through some simple self-checks. Sleep and hydration. How have I been sleeping? Am I drinking enough water throughout the day? Am I getting my electrolytes? Are my meals balanced? Am I moving my body? Am I slowing down to chew my food? Stress and digestion. How high was my stress today? Am I reaching for some of these foods because I'm stressed? And that's a good question to ask. Am I having regular bowel movements? When to seek help? If your symptoms are chronic, that's a good time. If they're severe, persistent, or something, that's when we kind of reach out and figure out, hey, what's going on? And that's normally what we see coming into the office. But what we want to encourage is we want to see people sooner, because once we start naming things, it's harder to treat a lot of those things. If we can catch them early and train and give you suggestions on how we can change our lifestyles up to not have these symptomatologies, that's a lot easier to treat. That's kind of the goal of check engine lights are. Ask your body, check in with your body a little bit more often, and then get some testing done, whoever it might be through. Get some stool testing done, get some hair testing done, get some blood work done. Like, is there something going on in the background? I will tell you, a lot of our patients come in and their blood work looks normal, right? But they're having symptomatology. I'm like, okay, there's something happening in the background. We just need to figure out what. In labs, blood labs give us information, but it's not a full picture. So we got to put all those pictures together to figure out what's going on with the body. So try to seek some information, but ask your body. Your body's intelligent. What's going on? Supporting the body's dashboard rather than chasing supplements. So like sleep supplement, digestion supplement, inflammation supplement, what we need to focus on is the foundations. Everybody needs certain things, and small, consistent habits reduce your body's overall burden. And that's going to help everything. Rest and recovery is huge. How are we sleeping? What's our sleep environment like? Stress regulation, meaningful relationships. These are non-negotiables. This is part of your foundation. Nourishment, protein-rich meals, fiber, huge. Hydration, minerals, electrolytes. So stabilizing that blood sugar is huge, and getting good gut health through that fiber is really, really important as well. Movement and light. The daily movement is really important. So just getting movement in daily. We're very sedentary in our lifestyles. Some people just don't realize how much we sit during the day. You have to get up and move. Exercise is a part of it, but just movement throughout the day, really important. And then the light we take in has a lot of influence on our hormones. Getting morning sunlight and evening sunshine, really, really important for circadian rhythm. But the less we can be under artificial light, usually the better. If you're in an office setting, going outside as much as you can, super important. Get some morning sunshine, really good. Get some sunshine over lunch hour, and then get outside in the evening, help regulate your body. It's going to help with energy, hormones, immune function, kind of everything. So these are some foundational things you can do to help regulate your body. Check in on those check engine lights. This week, pay attention to your body's dashboard. What's happening when a symptom arises? Resist the urge to silence and kind of get curious instead. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this symptom? What is my body asking me? And trying to pay attention to. So your body's not working against you. It may be working hard to get your attention, right? Think about that. Let that sink in a little bit. What is your body trying to tell you? And can we be listening to it a little bit better? So check in with your dashboards. Are you having any warning signs going off? What's our check engine light doing, and what's it trying to tell us? And see if we can piece apart maybe what it is that you need to be doing, or let's further investigate it. Alrighty, guys. Let's do this over the next week. Take that challenge. Write down some of your symptoms that are going on and start investigating them. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk next week.